Head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks Eric Musselman has become a master of recruiting, not only in players coming out of high school, but players coming out of the transfer portal. Now, how you and I feel about the transfer portal, that's irrelevant. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's here and it's here to stay. And there's no way around it. Eric Musselman has perfected the transfer portal. He has used it to his advantage, and it's time we call him what he is, which is the king of the transfer portal. And this has started since before he was at Arkansas, when he was still at Nevada. We're going to start with the 2017-2018 season, Musselman's third season with the Nevada Wolfpack. Muss was able to grab Southern Illinois wing Jordan Caroline, as well as his biggest splash of this season, the NC State twins, Caleb and Cody Martin. The Twins and Eric Musselman led the Wolfpack to a 28-9 record, winning the Mountain West Conference regular season title and making a Sweet 16 appearance. Then the following season, the 2018-2019 season, Muss would add Portland forward Jazz Johnson, who would make the Mountain West Conference first team the following season. After another Sweet 16 run, Eric Musselman was one of the most sought-out coaches in the country, and Arkansas would swoop in and quickly give Muss the job. And well, let's just say that the formula for success that had been built at Nevada was not going to change for Eric Musselman, as he was going to use the transfer portal to its full extent to his advantage. So in the 2019-2020 season, Muss's first season at Arkansas, he attracted a ton of transfers. Now for his first season, I'm going to mention them all. After this though, I'm only going to mention notable ones and players I actually really like. So starting out with New Mexico and Georgetown guard Jalen Harris, Florida Atlantic and UNCW guard Gentle Celia, California big Connor Vanover, and SMU wing Jimmy Witt, who actually would really help and really benefit the Razorbacks in Eric Musselman's first season, averaging about 14 points per game. Arkansas had an okay year as a team, going 20-12, but they would finish 10th in the SEC. And remember, this was the COVID year, so everything got canceled. We never got to see the NCAA tournament seeding, but most likely Arkansas wasn't going to make it. I saw a projection from March the 11th, which was the day the NBA got canceled, and Arkansas wasn't in there. So most likely they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament, but there was a lot of hope. This was really solid, as Arkansas had kind of been in a very down time as a program, and there was finally hope that Eric Musselman was going to pull them out of it. And for the 2020-2021 season, well, Eric Musselman basically had to rebuild the team from the ground up, as this team was extremely different, which, folks, is going to be a trend, as it's going to change every single year that Eric Musselman is in Arkansas. But the major departures is Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones, as they would both make runs in the NBA. And Eric Musselman's transfer recruiting class would be very successful, which would include Indiana wing Justin Smith, Jacksonville State's J.D. Notte, and Northern Kentucky's Jalen Tate. Notte would end up winning the SEC Sixth Man of the Year, showing flashes of being special, more on that in a second, and Jalen Tate would end up spending time with the Houston Rockets. Arkansas would improve greatly in 2021 with a record of 25-7, which was good enough for second in the SEC. The Muss Bus wouldn't stop in the SEC either, making Arkansas's first Elite Eight appearance since 1995, proving that Eric Musselman knew exactly what he was doing, and much of this success could be credited to the critical players that Muss had recruited through the transfer portal. The Razorbacks had almost an entirely new look for 2022, which, like I said, is becoming the standard with Eric Musselman at the helm, bringing in 9 new players from either the transfer portal or just straight up normal recruiting from high school. The major transfers he was able to attract for this season was South Dakota forward Stanley Amunde, Miami guard Chris Likes, and Pitt forward Audis Tony. I also have to bring up that Arkansas fan favorite Kamani Johnson joined the team in 2021 after having to sit out because he transferred from Arkansas Little Rock. Also, remember I mentioned J.D. Notte? Well, let's just say he was starting to look like a star, being the SEC's leading scorer and proving he made the right decision joining the Razorbacks. Arkansas finished 28-9, and the Muss Bus was starting to become talked about on a national level, and there was no secret on how this team was succeeding. It was the combination of getting the right players from high school and getting the proper pieces from the transfer portal. Arkansas returned to the Elite Eight, knocking off #1 Gonzaga in the process. I bet you can guess what this past year's team looked like. Well, I'll give you a little hint. It looked nothing like the team before, and I bet you can guess where Eric Musselman found about half of these players. Well, if you guessed the transfer portal, consider yourself pretty smart. There was a lot of pressure around Muss to hit the jackpot with the transfer portal, with there only being 4 players returning for the upcoming season. But never fear, Eric Musselman found a great group of transfers for this past year's Razorback teams, including Rhode Island twins Makai and Michael Mitchell, Arizona State forward Jalen Graham, Wichita State guard Ricky Council IV, and Missouri forward Trayvon Brazil. The Mitchell twins grew a ton during this season, bringing very meaningful minutes down the stretch for this team. Jalen Graham, I believe, is one of the most underrated players in the country who deserves more PT. Trayvon Brazil was looking like a star before he tore his ACL, and Ricky Council made the SEC second team for this season and had flashes of greatness filling in while freshman star Nick Smith was recovering from injury. Arkansas had another pretty good year, finishing 25-14, which was only good enough for 9th in the SEC, but this was a very competitive SEC this year. There's an argument made that the SEC was the most dominant conference this season, and the Razorbacks would still make the NCAA tournament, where they would once again make the Sweet 16, defeating number 1 Kansas on the way. So, Eric Musselman has developed players in a pretty unconventional way, and in many ways you can say he's helped the transfer portal gain popularity, because there's no doubt Muss has been successful through the transfer portal. Here's what he said about the transfer portal a few weeks ago. I promise I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for the transfer portal. I kind of felt like at Nevada we were at the forefront of the transfer portal. So make no mistake, Eric Musselman is the king of the transfer portal, and it'll be interesting to see who he targets for the 2023-2024 season. But anyways, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please show by hitting the like button and subscribing. It helps me out a ton, and it absolutely makes my day. Comment down below, what do you think of Eric Musselman's strategy when it comes to recruiting? I absolutely love hearing from you guys. Until next time, I want you to have an awesome day, and I'll see y'all later.